What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Alex's Toy Show.
It's Q&A 64. See the 64 written up there? That's what it means. Over on Amino, Nader and Star Destroyer write in. They want to know, push, keep, fire, and induct Brock, Dean, Miz, and Bray Wyatt. Who would I do? I would induct Brock. I would fire the Miz. I would keep Wyatt, and I would push Dean. I think that's pretty easy. Merrick G, he's been tweeting me like forever on the Twitter. He wants to know what's my favorite instrument and my favorite soda pop. Now, instrument, as far as instrument goes, it's piano. I've always wanted to learn the piano. I always thought it was great, and I just never really got around to learning it. I guess you could learn it still if I wanted to. Favorite soda pop. Now, I'm going to have you do a little bit of homework on this one. I want you to go and search on YouTube, My Pal Alex Custom. And it's going to bring you a list of all the different custom action figures that I've painted for Feisty Pants. And in the background of most of those custom videos is a can of my favorite beverage. This is something everybody knows. So do a little homework and you'll get there. And you'll know the answer. But favorite instrument, legit good question, piano. Jeremiah Baez wants to know, what's the best WWE event you've been to? Seeing as how awesome Brooklyn NXT was a couple weekends ago, that was amazing. I'm actually glad that I went to NXT and not SummerSlam, because I think if I was at SummerSlam and the atrocity happened and I witnessed the atrocity happen as it did, I think I might have rioted the whole building. Heel Adam 8000. Where do you work this week? I drive for Uber this week. Yes, I'm gonna get stabbed. I may not make it to next week's Q&A. Will Cody Rhodes come back, or do you think Stardust will win a single title? I don't know. You know, he's pretty set on this Stardust role, and he just formed the new alliance with the Ascension. They're like a threesome. Yes, I just said threesome. So I don't know. Is he going to win a singles title? You know, he's capable. I'm sure, right now he's not in the picture, but I'm sure he'll get back in there, maybe by WrestleMania. WWE man, as in the man. Do I see Apollo Crews as a future WWE champ? That's what his question is. Apollo Crews, who debuted in NXT just last month. Sure, dude. Maybe in, like, you know, a couple of years. It's a real question. It's right there. I'm not making fun of you. The guy just debuted last month in Brooklyn, mind you. And you want to know if he's a future WWE champ. That's like saying Sarah Lee that won Tough Enough. You haven't heard a word from her since she won. Who knows what the hell she's doing? But she's a future Divas champ. Sure, man. Hey, if I get myself in the ring, I could be a future WWE champ, maybe. Maybe. Probably not. Speaking of which, I have to detour from the Q&A. You all saw the match this weekend. The Ninja Twins, they took over the Apple Balls channel, and they challenged me to a match. And it was terrible. It was supposed to be terrible. I mean, look at our promos. Like, who speaks like that? I said I was going to Grandma's house. I'm like, come on. It was supposed to be terrible. It was funny. I couldn't keep from laughing the whole time. All right. If you haven't seen it, which is shocking, because we surpassed the 1,000... You know how you go on YouTube and you can like something or you can dislike it? We actually have 1,000 dislikes. That's how bad it was. It was awesome. 2 thumbs up, Siskel and Ebert. Pat on the back. Woo! So, Apollo Crews. Yeah, you know, he's probably going to win NXT title before he goes to the WWE. And, you know, Finn Balor's going to have it for a while because he's awesome. So, you know, he just started, man. I mean, probably. I can't answer that. The Slayer. The Slayer wants to know, did I prefer WWF to WCW in the Monday Night Raw Wars? The Monday Night Wars. Did I say Raw Wars? You know what I meant. I actually, there was a time, I was a long-time WWF watcher, because pretty much that was the only thing on TV. And then when WCW came along, and like all these people from WWF went there, we're like, okay, I guess we're watching WCW. But we did tune back and forth, during the wars, and, everybody was doing pretty good. I didn't really see the actual battle that it was. I had no idea WCW was on the line like every night. I thought it was something they were working out together. They were actually warring. Who knew? Well, I guess they knew. I didn't know. I was a kid. But yeah, I don't know if I preferred either one, because I thought it was great how they were, just constantly competing with each other. I thought it was a gimmick. That's how it looked. I didn't know it was an actual war. But yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time to watch wrestling, because everything was just more intense than the next, It was awesome. It was all awesome. I prefer it. If that could be, but you know what? You can't have that thing all the time, because then it gets old. It's like, oh, what are they going to do this week to shock the world? Who cares now? But no, back then it was hysterical. Blue wants to know who's my favorite supervillain. Okay. Now, I define a supervillain differently than a villain. Now, my favorite villain is the Joker, because Frank Miller and, whoever's writing Batman now, it's to have Batman be this ultimate crime detective, you also have to incorporate, well, how are you going to set the perfect trap for him to solve? It's like the people who write, like, all the cop shows and stuff like that, like CSI and all this jazz, like, who plans these murders? Well, the Joker is just brilliant, okay? He's hands down the best villain in comics. But the best supervillain? You have to go with Magneto. Apocalypse is a close second, but Magneto, he's a mutant who controls the power of magnetism. He was in one of the greatest story arcs. It was called, what was it called? They were introducing, Generation X mutants. It was called Fatal Attraction. It was before Generation X. It was called Fatal Attractions, and Magneto was going to tilt the Earth off its axis using all his magnetic power, and he was probably going to kill himself in doing so. But he thought, fuck this! I'm taking everybody out with me. So it is great. And, the X-Men get there, and they're operating from their base. What was it called? Oh, it was called the Acolytes and Asteroid M. Asteroid M. Now, it was just this asteroid, small, and it was orbiting the Earth. And that's where they operated from. Now, how they got there, I don't even remember, because you can't just fly into space. I don't care what kind of mutant you are. Probably they took a magnetic bubble and they, sealed off some oxygen for themselves, and they made the trip. Anyway, the X-Men show up, and Magneto is like, I'm not having this. He rips the adamantium out of Wolverine, and Wolverine's like, he's dead. We thought they killed off Wolverine, who at the time was the greatest superhero of his time. Everybody was like, oh, Wolverine this and Wolverine that, and Wolverine, and here's Magneto just shits on Wolverine. So to answer your question, Magneto. Now, Apocalypse is pretty badass, but I don't think he's better than Magneto. I think Magneto could still, find some way in the laws of magnetism to beat Apocalypse. And then after Apocalypse, it doesn't matter. If you guys haven't read Fatal Attractions, look it up. It's probably in trade paperback, or maybe you can find these digital online comics somewhere. Just key in X-Men Fatal Attractions, and see what comes up on Google. But oh man, that was a great storyline. Shigita says, I've seen Grimm's figure review of Eve, and he mentioned a true story about calling her a bitch. Is it true? This ties back to the last live event I was at. It was two. All right, so I was in Brooklyn. Then I was with Graham and saw Eve on a Raw, and then I was with everybody and saw Eve on a pretty sure Raw. And it was that second time ago. She had tweaked her ankle or something like that, like, you know, ahead of time. So they scrubbed her match from Raw. And I brought this sign. I was like, finally, I'm going to see Eve. She's going to see my sign. She's going to fall in love with me. I was pretty pissed that she didn't show up the whole night. So we're walking out of the bleachers, and we had good seats. So we're walking out of our seats. In the ring, after Raw goes dark, in the ring is Jerry Lawler. They whip out a cake, and all the divas come running out. They're like, oh, look, Al, there's Eve finally. And I said, oh, Eve, you bitch. Can't wrestle, you know, during the match, but you can run out for Jerry Lawler's fucking birthday. And I was just ranting to myself. And when I said, oh, Eve, you bitch, she stopped and, like, looked right at me. My head was down, so I didn't see, but Grim was looking right at her, and who knows, it was funny. Like, we laughed about it the whole night, and since then, it was great. Wordy Titan, next question, just started a channel for himself. You guys can check him out. He wants to know who's my favorite Hall of Famer, and his birthday's coming up this week, too. Happy birthday! And, Bret Hart. I mean, that's an old question, too. I couldn't tell you what Q&A it's from, but Bret Hart was like my hero back in the day, and that would be the answer there. Zach Rock wants to know, how many Star Wars figures do I own? You know, I probably have less than 50 still. I had, years ago, I had the C-3PO collector case. It was like the, you know, chest up, and it was shiny gold, and it opened it up, and it held like a ton of characters, and I sold the case and about 45 like vintage characters to a comic book shop for like $300 in store credit, which back in the day was like a fortune. That was pretty cool. Since then, I had bought, let's see, Power of the Force. Power of the Force came around in 95, and in the last lines when it went to clearance at like Toys R Us for like 98 cents, or something even maybe ridiculous, like 89 cents a figure, from like $5 a figure. The Stormtroopers were in the assortment. There were like 2 Stormtroopers, and there were like 2 or 4 Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper disguise, and you know, in a case of 12 figures. And at 98 cents, I just kept buying Stormtroopers. I was like, oh, I'll take one of these, one of these, one of these. I'll take the Luke guys, and all of a sudden, I had over 400 Stormtroopers. And one of my custom projects that I was going to do. But back in the day, before flat screen TVs came around, you had the big tube television, and they sold this giant shelving unit. Put the TV in there, you could put your VCR in there. Well, I was going to get a white lacquer finish, and I was going to turn it into the Death Star, more or less. And I had like enough Stormtroopers to put everywhere. I was going to stick the Millennium Falcon where the TV would go, and it was going to be freaking cool, but I never got around to it. And I eventually sold the 400 Stormtroopers on eBay in lots of like 10 or so, like as an army builder. So I probably have like about 20 or more Stormtroopers still, and then maybe like a couple other figures. If anybody's interested, I'll do a video of them. If anybody wants them, I feel free to trade me something for them. Just let me know. The same way I trade baseball cards, I'll trade them for baseball cards, actually, or Pokemon cards. Feisty Pants is still into Pokemon. Alright, so that's pretty much all the questions. Fan mail, Alex's Toy Show, P.O. Box 13, Bayville, New Jersey, 08721. EverQuest that I was just ranting about. You can follow me on Twitch. I'm my pal Alex there. You can watch me play EverQuest. I'm still working on how YouTube streams. I'm still figuring that out. But it's going to be pretty cool, and then you don't actually have to go to Twitch. You could just watch my video on YouTube, and then watch me play EverQuest on YouTube. It'll be great! But in the meantime, follow me on Twitch. You can watch me play. I stream whenever I go live. You'll get a notification. My pal Alex. And then on Amino, you know, I have the usual chats. Wrestling, movies and TV, Star Wars, toys, MMO. And then I just picked up the Minecraft Amino. You can write me on Instagram, Lego Ideas, and then the show. Check out the show. At my pal Alex is my Twitter, but I put it in every show title. Sunday, I do Q&A and pay-per-view predictions. Monday, I do toy hunts and toy hauls with Feisty Pants. Tuesday, we do baseball cards. Wednesday is Minecraft with Feisty Pants. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we leave it open for everything else. Fan mail on Friday, and Thursday and Saturday, I usually see the custom action figure reviews, the regular action figure reviews. Any Lego videos that I have, EverQuest videos, I'll put them up there too. Other fun stuff. And that's all I got. Like this video, leave me a comment, and subscribe for more.